you can't be afraid to go against someone who is considered to be the best if you want to be the best. So that's why I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. If that's who I gotta fight, then that's who I gotta fight. Let's do it. I want to be on this fight. I want to be on this fight show. I love Muay Thai. Let's get it done. Get it done. Get it done. Get it done.
We always do it, fraud. You know, sometimes you gotta take that risk. You know, if you make it, you hit the jackpot.
With open arms, coke boy, peep the lineup. I'm talking Tango and cash. Hit the bank, no mask. Out the freezer, cold cash. Put Grammy winners on cash. Never happened twice, gotta take a chance. Never end, never start. Got cars, I never start. No plan B, can't sleep. My mind racing. Brown paper, put it underground. Build the foundation. Never worry about.
I told you I'm always laughing.
I know. Hey, you're a happy person. That's good. Okay.
Yeah, I'm very happy.
Okay, so you told me what your strongest attribute was in the sport of Muay Thai, okay? All right, so let me ask you this, okay? What other sports have you participated in besides, beating up people in a ring?
Okay, so when I was younger, I tried basketball. I tried volleyball. I was absolutely horrible, and I never made the team. I made the basketball team once in middle school, but I was on the B team, not even the A team, and I warmed the bench most of the time, and I played center. Yeah, that was horrible. So anyway, when I went to high school, I joined the wrestling team, and I just think that was my thing. Not so much the team sports, but more the individual sport. And my first year wrestling, I was 160 pounds, and I had to wrestle in the 185-pound weight class and even the 215-pound weight class. And that was just because I was a grade below the senior. I was a sophomore, and we had a senior on our team who was 160 as well, but she got the priority for the 165 weight class because her grade was higher than mine. But anyways, it didn't matter because even though I was 160, I qualified for the state tournament. I won regionals, I went to state, and I actually placed second against the defending state champion. And that's when I realized, okay, maybe wrestling is my thing. So then eventually I ended up winning. The following years I got to be in my own weight class, 165, and I ended up being the first state champion for my high school. After high school and college, I went to Texas A&M University, and I was actually the first woman of color to skipper on the sailing team. Yes, another first for me. I was super excited. So that was good. I enjoyed sailing. It wasn't wrestling. It wasn't my love, but it was a really good experience, and I got to travel a lot and just be in a completely different sport that I never thought that I would do. And when I moved to Australia, I played on a netball team. I don't know if you've ever heard of netball. It's almost like basketball, but there's no dribbling. It's a little different. So I did that. And yeah, I've just always kind of been athletic and done things. Also, I did track and field, but I was a thrower. I threw shot put and discus. Yeah, I wasn't a big runner. Or yeah, you wouldn't catch me running. Actually, one time I remember they had at the track meets they would have something called the big man relay and the real woman relay, and those were relays with all the throwers. So it was really entertaining to watch because you see all these big bodies just going for it. And it was just a 400 relay. So I participated in that, and I was the first leg. It was fun. I enjoyed it, but that was the only running that I did on the track and field team. Other than that, I was throwing. But yeah, so those are the sports that I participated in.
Wow. Okay. I mean, so now speaking of wrestling, I can't let the interview go until I ask you this, and I really can't let you off the hook.
Okay.
Since you wrestle, and since you're doing Muay Thai, are you going to ever make the transition to MMA?
You know, that's a good question. I've had 2 MMA fights. I enjoy MMA because I get to put it together, I get to use the Muay Thai. I also get to use the wrestling. I was training jiu-jitsu as well. And for a wrestler, it's not too hard to transition into jiu-jitsu. Well, the only difficult part is you don't like being on your back. I got over that really quickly. So I do like MMA. It's a whole different ballpark than just doing stand-up or just doing wrestling. But I don't know, after this fight, I take it one fight at a time. We'll see what opportunities this opens up for me, what doors it opens up for me. So I'm open to anything. We'll see. I like both.
Okay. Oh, well then, since you like both, now I got to know this. Did you watch Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz, part 2?
I'll be honest with you, I don't have a television. I haven't for many years, but I was walking in town and I happened to pass by a little bar that was showing a little bit of it. So I got to see the very end of the fight between Diaz and McGregor.
Oh man, because I got to get your thoughts on it. Well,
Yeah, I heard it was a good show. I've just seen the highlights of it, and it did look like it really went down. It looked like it was super entertaining. I talked to my brother because he watches like every single UFC fight there is, and he was like, "Yeah, it was a good fight." But I'll try to maybe. I'm sure it's probably on YouTube or it will be, so I'll see it eventually.
Okay, I mean, hey. Okay.
Way later than everyone else.
At least you're honest. I mean, at least you're honest.
Yeah.
You didn't watch the fight. You ain't try to break it down. Because some people sit here and try to lie about it. And you just catch them in a lie after that. That's just the way that is. That's just the way that is.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Okay. You are. Okay. You're going into this fight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Have you ever been afraid? Before you went to the ring or during a fight?
No, honestly, I get really anxious, like most people do before they do any sport. I get super, super anxious, and sometimes I like even get a little shaky. And the best way I can describe that or relate it to something is that like when you see a horse race and the horses are behind the gate and they're just anxious and you can see them moving around and then they're breathing hard and they're ready for that. They know it's coming. And as soon as you open that gate, boom, they shoot out and they go for it. That's kind of how I feel. As soon as I step into the ring, and this is how it's always been for me, even with wrestling, as soon as I stepped onto the mat, that anxiety goes away and this calmness comes over me and I just focus. I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is, but I get super anxious, but as soon as I touch the canvas, it just goes away. And then especially when the fight starts, man, you don't even remember that you were nervous or feeling anything. You just know what you need to do because that's how you train. So yeah, I've never been afraid though. You can't do a sport like this if you're afraid. There really has to be no fear. I mean, you can be nervous or whatever, but I don't know. I get nervous, but I don't feel any fear.
Okay. Hey, well, hey, I guess you can't. I don't know. I mean, people who are afraid in a contact sport, they don't usually make it very far anyway. So you either gonna get knocked out or killed. I mean.
That's true. I've kind of always been like that though. I'm not really afraid of much. Like I used to work with sharks, and I mean like big sharks, actually manhandling them and diving with them and whatnot. And I know a lot of people are afraid of sharks, and I'm a little different like that. If something interests me, I go for it. I embrace it instead of being afraid.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you though, when I researched all the fights that I can find on you. One thing that I noticed is that when you actually get hit, like you don't fall apart. Like you actually keep your composure, and I noticed that. So I pick up on really small things, but I noticed that you didn't. Some fighters when you hit them, they really get real like over anxious, or they start trying to figure out how not to get hit. But you took a couple of shots in your championship fight, and you didn't fall apart. Like you kept your composure, and you stuck with the game plan. Okay, I mean. how do you have that kind of discipline? Because the one shot that I saw you get hit with, I'm like, oh man, you got hit pretty hard. But you know, how are you able to do that?
Well, you know what? The way I train and who I train with, I've been hit really hard by men, like grown men who outweigh me by a lot. And so I've been hit super, super hard plenty of times. And there's never been a woman that's ever hit me that hard. Or maybe they have, but I'm just so in the zone that I just go through it because I got my own game plan and what I want to do. And like I said, when I'm in the ring, I can just focus and execute that game plan. And even if I take shots, you're going to take shots. You always do. You just kind of push through them. And, you know, I've also, you know, I've practiced, I've trained, I've wrestled while I was injured, and you have that constant nagging pain or whatever. And also, this sounds kind of dumb, but just being a woman, you kind of deal with it. Women deal with pain very well. So, yeah, you just maybe I just I didn't really notice the shots that I got hit with in the fight. But you know, if I do notice something, then it's like, okay, well, I've got a hole in my armor. Let me tighten up a little bit here, and then just keep doing what I want to do. So,
okay,
that's how I deal with it.
Now I noticed that you do something too that I don't know. See, I'm sorry. You know, it's kind of tough talking to an interviewer who fought, and I noticed little certain things. Like, I even noticed, too, that you have this technique when you come in and you start throwing your jabs. Like, you'll actually tuck your chin in, and you'll lower your head, and then you'll come in. And it was kind of, I thought it was kind of, like, crafty how you do that because, you know, you actually don't take a lot of damage.
Well, that's how my coach taught us to throw the jab. Even the cross, when you throw it, you need to protect your chin. So that's why I kind of tuck. I'm always tucked. It's like I have a little tank, and that this is my armor. And then, you know, I pop that jab and then go on to the next thing. It's just a technique that he taught us how to stay tight and how to be clean and how to still have power behind it. So yeah, and then I don't mind taking shots to the top of my head, but you know, you don't want them on the chin or even up here. But on the top of the head, whatever, even if I get a cut up here, it's not as bad as getting a cut, you know, that can cost you the fight. So yeah, I always tuck that head, and I always have my shoulders. I've got broad shoulders, they're huge. So they protect me well. I can get them up there and pop the jab.
That's a God-given gift. That's a God-given gift. God gave it to you at birth, girl. He gave it to you.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you do in the weight room? I mean, I got to know because it's kind of hard looking at your physique. I'm sitting here thinking, because I'm a strength trainer as well, and I'm like, what does she do?
Honestly, I don't lift weights.
Huh?
I don't lift weights, no, ever. Well, 2-pounders. My coach, he has us do, like during practice, we have a bucket of 2-pounders. Everybody grabs a 2-pound or two 2-pounders, and he'll make us do like jab cross for 2 minutes straight, or above your head, like different types of strengthening techniques. But it's just with 2-pound weights, and he's trying to get us to strengthen the attachments inside. Also, I do a lot of push-ups. We're constantly doing push-ups. That's our rest period. If we're not doing sit-ups to rest, then we're doing push-ups. We're always doing something. And I eat really clean, so I think that's why I'm lean. But honestly, I don't go to a weight room and actually lift weights or curls or anything like that. So, yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that's good. I mean, it's clearly it's working for you. You know, it's working because you know you're undefeated. Okay, now I want to ask you this. Okay, what do you say to people who, you know, they I guess they semi-negative, you know, like I guess they don't think that, you know, you can actually, you know, come in here and actually have a chance against a champion. You know, what do you say, and how do you deal with that kind of stuff?
Well, you know, you mentioned that that they say I wouldn't have a chance against a champion. I'm also a champion, and I've always been one. Even in other sports, I'm currently a champion, Even as an amateur, I was a two-time world champion against girls who outweighed me by more than 50 pounds, you know? And
50 pounds.
I'm a champion as well. People just don't know me yet. That's the difference, you know? Maybe I don't have 40 fights like my opponent does, but doesn't make me any less worthy of being in the ring with her. Especially if nobody else is trying to get in there with her. I'm up for the challenge. Let's do it, you know?
And I was just about to ask you that because you know what? People been ducking this girl like they playing limbo. You know how you go up under the rope. I'm just saying that's just the way that is. You know, and then you putting your undefeated record on like you just like immediately jumped in there. Like what the world like when you first got offered this fight? I mean, what was going through your mind?
Well, we actually sought this fight out. It wasn't necessarily offered to me, and I think there was a little hesitation on whether or not they wanted to give me the fight, just because I'm not well known, and I don't have as many fights as my opponent does. And then my coach, you know, he really pushed, and he was like, look, just give her a chance, you know, we're going to shock the world. Let's just get her in the ring with her and see what happens, you know. And I guess we'll see, September 2nd. I'm really looking forward to it. I really am.
Okay, amen.